Hello, friends, and welcome to the highlight reel for Hallmark Never Stop Blowing Up. We've got all our players here at the end of our adventure. It's all over. This will be full spoilers for anybody who's wondering about this. But it's time for us to talk about our favorite moments for everybody else for the back 7 episodes. 13 episodes was our full experience. We recorded 7 today. Oof. Sitting down now. So we'll talk about favorite moments for everybody else. I will go last, GM's privilege. But who would like to go first?
I'll jump in first then.
Get in there.
I am happy to. Okay. Oh my gosh. I got to start with Josh. Josh, my God. Everything about Johnny Evans, amazing. I must say, top of the thing for me is you rolling both nat 20s to take the DM seat and then using both opportunities to be like, here's just a bunch of cool action shit and people that Johnny kills. Like, no sweeping things. No, like, everybody goes home. Just like, I am in 1v1 combat with these people and it is insane. I also want to point out, like, of course, the Creed stuff is incredible, but I loved Johnny's reaction to like, getting told off and then getting left by everybody, because I kept wondering, like, is he going to have a heart? Is some of this really going to get to him? Like, what kind of guy is he? And the fact that you're so like, no, I just want attention. I think you did a great job of making a character who was a jerk, but not in a gross, icky way, but kind of in a fun, shitty way. But then it was like there was so little heart to him that it's like you didn't feel bad about him getting shit on either. Yeah. So I think you tread the line on that perfectly. He was so fun.
Perfect. That was the goal.
You did great. And oh my gosh, Pam, Trish, so many cool decisions all the way around. Like such a backbone of the entire team and being there to support everybody and everyone's choices. Like, you always made such awesome decisions in the middle of battle, and you know, when everyone else felt down, you just always felt like the safe person to be around and to go to. And I just really loved that. And yeah, really loved that you were finally able to turn it's Trish, like, and turn the tide against people. And obviously winning the most out of it. Like, if anyone needed to be crowned, it was Trish, but that's not what she wanted anyway. So just such a really cool, fun character that felt very real.
Thank you.
Yeah. Guy, Jesus Christ. It's just the decisions that you make, the slaying of the table, like, nonstop. You could say one word in reply to someone and we would all start melting down. Just so funny, so good. And then so sincere, like the ending of you being like, stop this madness, let's stop fighting. And like winning the day at the end with the heart and with his words. And it was a perfect juxtaposition between you and Johnny of like, at the final climactic battle, what do you do? And Johnny's like, I murder everyone gruesomely. And you're like, I talk people into being better than themselves. And I just love that. But yeah, absolutely fucking slaying all of us, laying in the igloo with chickens. Like, so fucking funny all the way around. Just MVP, like, incredible work all the way on this whole show, Guy. Yeah.
Thanks, pal.
Yeah. Oh my God. And Ryan, yeah. The rolling with the punches, your ability to take a random bunch of numbers and turn that quickly into what happens based on like the trajectory of the rolls and like how much people won or lost by, like, everything felt so immediate and real. And the fact that you can come up with that and manage all of that stuff while looking at all these combats and all the numbers, but still make it so narrative and everything paying off so well because you listen and you take those things in and you bring them forwards. It's incredible, and I feel like this is one of those ones that people will watch and be like, this is fudged, or like, oh, this is BS or was planned beforehand, because you did such a good job of weaving every single part of our characters together into the end that felt like a very cool message and felt inevitable. Like, God, the turn of fucking Kelly, and we were going to ask you about that in DM chat, because fucking mom, Jesus Christ. Amazing stuff, Ryan, all the way around. Everyone did so good.
I'll go. Sorry for constantly calling you Patty the whole time, but it's like, holy fuck.
It felt cool. I think I think Patty was okay with you calling her Patty.
Pam, yeah, you saved a lot of people's asses throughout. Like, you stuck up for people. You were a moral center when there was so much conflict among everybody else, which like. It was a glue that we really also needed. And also, like, the first round of games, like, your arc was like Some of it was partially completed where you had the competition with your most hated enemy in town. And you still kept on finding like things to make out of it. Like you kept on finding ways to keep it going and everything. And more conflict came, which was awesome for you to smash, especially with Johnny hitting on
Del,
you.
could you go check on Freddie? I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. Keep going.
Especially with like Johnny hitting on you. And we're like, oh, maybe this is a new turn. Because it's like, hey, Hallmark. Maybe it turns out mismatched couples. They're meant to be. They're meant to be.
Drop dead, fuck.
Yeah. But and it was he was winning you over, and I love that you made the decision. It's like, do I honor the formula of how a movie like this would go, or do I honor the character? And your character was so well defined that you're like, no, I am going to be as obvious as I can, and I'm going to say this clear-throated, drop dead Johnny Evans, which was so wonderful. And, oh, God, it won me over and made me laugh so much because the amount. You had me believing in all of that. So it was, fuck, man, you were great, man.
Thank you.
I'll wait until Del gets back. Yeah.
She'll be coming around the corner in a second. I heard her get ready.
Around the corner when she comes.
When she comes.
Thank you, Del, for your service in regards to Freddie.
Yes.
No problem.
Del, holy shit, you... You have like the perfect amount of like the character's naivete and stuff like that, right? Like the person that's trying to... trying to get what they think they want and trying to discover and realize what they think they want. And it's a fun game you have to play because you have to realize like the constant offers Johnny's giving you. And it's like, well, do I see through this sham? But he's also offering me this, which honors also my character of, being in a big city. And there's so much. But a lot of just like wholesomeness coming out of you. And so seeing how affected you are by big decisions, like killing somebody, shooting them in half and sawing their body. Then just like staring away from other people and being really like shocked by that revelation. There's just like a series of moments. Also just I don't know what garbage came out of my mouth at times, but then with you, like near the very end, it's like, what does that have to do with anything? Like,
what does that mean? It's like such a clean question. We all need to be ninjas, not Sammy Rye.
I mean, yeah, you were like, again, I said this the last time, but for how much like importance your character has in driving everything forward, and you handled it masterfully, and I also like that, you were able to find a different outcome, like being able to like find something that you didn't have like the typical Hallmark ending, and you were able to like shift away from the formula as well, which I thought was really, really cool because it wasn't, again, I'm using this word of the day, it wasn't like honoring the character you've now made and stuff. And it's like, there's so many now shades of gray and what was just this naive, like small town girl that went big to, and, I don't know, man, it was so much fun.
Thank you so much.
Johnny Evans, all the asides that you would have, like when people would do something, you're like, what the fuck is going on? Besides all of that, I mean, there was a certain point where like there's a point of no return where your character can't, like, he becomes such a piece of shit, and you've been playing him so level where it's like, okay, I mean, I'm not that big a piece of shit though. And then at a certain point, like, you had to make the decision, okay, I am this piece of shit. And how funny it was that then you know how big of you to become that character that everybody could latch on and just like throw eggs at is such like a noble thing to do, and especially to make it so funny and like using your shitty Creed song. And my moment is you asking for the hand of Holly and then playing a fucking your own celebration song so loud until you destroy the sound machine and drink all of the champagne, which you had stolen in a romantic gesture that was lined up perfectly for Pam. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop laughing, and how everybody worked together so well is just it had to be. Speaking of which, the die rolls, making those die rolls fit no matter what is a skill like I still don't know how you're able to do so well, so gracefully. Again, it's so hard to say like one big moment because there's so many moments among everybody here, and I've like literally like lost track. I've laughed so many times now. Yeah, I really liked having Allegra Dogs.
Yes.
This side character who's creeped out by Johnny after Johnny's trying to win her over just because I got to impress this Rube. And then have this Rube become another secret agent. having the boxcars explain, oh yeah, you meant Soapbox Derby Racer. That's what they're known everywhere else except for Hallmark. You managed to write so many ships when they may have veered off course. And I also like that, like, just even with Jackson, Mississippi, having him then like find his girl in this
Kim Summers.
Kim Summers. I don't know, man. There's so many chef's kiss and the ritualistic suicide at the end. I mean,
Trigger warning.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put trigger warning a little seppuku.
Sorry, seppuku. I know. I tip my Santa's hat to you again. Thank you so much for putting this together.
Well, I'm going to jump in as third before Josh gets the chance. And yeah, again, like this is so fun, and I'm just so happy to be here. And 100%, you know, kind of building on what you had said too, Guy. Like as we were playing this, like I was ready that there might be something that happened between Johnny and I, but you just absolutely closed that door. And when you were like, hey, Trish, you want in on this? Like, it killed me because it was like the audacity of this man. Right? And I really do love that you went off into the sunset. Again, I imagine you and Polaris married with your matching earrings. Like, I think it's the perfect thing for Johnny Blaze. A dream. Yes, obviously the Creed stuff was amazing. And I also have written down here, don't be you, when you were trying to tell Holly, like, okay, we're going to participate in this, but like, just don't be you. Head empty and no
Think
thoughts.
Johnny thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
Johnny
You're
thoughts,
thinking you
okay.
think Johnny. I loved that. Yeah. It was never going to work out between the two of us. I loved that.
I think there was a chance.
Yeah, I think you chose not to do it.
Yeah.
It was very clear,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Johnny had a lot of moments where he could have changed
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, when you popped that champagne for yourself, it was like, Trish was like,
It's over.
absolutely not. There's no way this is going to happen.
The proposal, maybe.
Yeah.
No way.
No. If I'd had the champagne, maybe. But, and Del, you were just so, like, yeah, so consistently sweet. And this girl who I think, like, it's like you've told yourself more than anything that like head is empty. I'm ticking all of these boxes and doing this stuff. And when you stood up to the evil clowns, it was like, yeah, she's here. And even seeing your mom kind of like didn't even faze you. You were like, boundaries, baby. It was amazing. What a progression for your character and change. Change. It's the only constant.
Change.
The only constant, Guy. And you, again, were incredible. Again, I have written down here, my morals. The fact that you've only seen films between, like, I don't know, 19, etc., and 1991 cut off. That's so funny, too. And at one point, you made a comment like, Holly, you've got strong bones. You were really just like... I also loved that. All of these pullbacks to the bone. And oh my gosh.
Oh, thanks, bud.
So fun. So much fun. I would, you know, be in any underground lair with the three of you anytime. And Ryan, you know, Guy mentioned it too, but Allegra was just, she was incredible. She was incredible. Also, your Russian accent is really spot on, right? We forgot about that. Everything was fabulous. The heart-to-heart that you two had as brothers was like, I think Josh peed his pants for sure. So much fun. It was so great. Thank you, everyone.
I think you're sitting a little further back there.
Yeah, sorry. No,
I
wanted to first express my disappointment with all of you that you didn't compliment my Sean Connery. Because I worked really hard on that. And I think it was great. And I think you all really just blew an opportunity.
Johnny Evans is still here. Yeah. He's still possessing Josh.
Joshy Evans.
But that's one of the main things. It's to everybody, like to all of you guys at the table, is that I know it's always hard to like role play with somebody who is being a piece of shit, because it's so easy to just go, fuck you, Johnny Evans. But it's not. It's only funny. Like Johnny Evans is only funny when the people around him are willing to give him a chance. And you guys all, like, in your own little separate ways, like found time to like, oh, all right, like Johnny, all right. Because otherwise, it's so, like, it can turn so fast. It can just be not funny. And it can be, you can just like work yourself out of a scene or a conversation. Like somebody can just be like, shut the fuck up, Johnny. And you're like, but you guys did such a good job of like giving him opportunities to like come and be shitty. And like, Del like would always give him that chance to like come back in. And that was always, it was such a blessing. Like every time he would say something so shitty to you, and you'd be like, you'd have to explain it to them, which I loved. Like, I loved that I could be shitty to you and you were like a Johnny Evans translator. And you'd be like, I just think that Johnny is like, he's really stressed. You guys don't know him like I do. And that, having that foil on Johnny is such a funny, necessary thing, but it also sets your character up so well. Like it allays these parameters out of like keeping Johnny in the story, but also like everyone who listens to it is going to be like, oh, Holly, like this is so sad. Like it's so relatable. It's so relatable to see somebody like get mistreated and explain it away and explain it to their friends. And so I hated putting you through that, but I loved it. It was so necessary to that, and it was so fun to watch. Pam, all the Trish stuff, like for you to be the kind of person that starts standing up to Johnny, I loved. And you do so many funny things, like over and over and over again. The Trish stuff was so funny. There was like 2 or 3 other like I can't, like you guys have said so many of these good things, but every time you had the opportunity to like, you would look at, you and Guy would look at one another when something shitty happened. And it was so like galvanizing, I thought, to like, we would do something funny and it would like shitty over here. And then I would just see your heads like slowly turn and just be like, oh, fuck. Like, but yeah, the obviously drop dead Johnny Evans is, I think that was my favorite part of the whole, like that's such a solid, like galvanizing moment of like, he's no longer going to put up with your shit. And then I think it makes it easier for me to like, well, okay, then if I've lost the plot here, I can't manipulate anybody anymore. It's like, well then, and like you were saying, it makes it easier to like just become a piece of shit. It's like, all right, well, who cares? And then Guy, like, yeah, the second you would say anything, I was already laughing. And that's on me. That's a problem that I have at the table, to not like giggle puss my way through the whole thing. But like watching you earnestly try, and I think everybody kind of said it, like that you brought like a real earnestness to that character that made him super believable, and you like rooted for him. But then your ability to just like stream of consciousness these nonsensical aphorisms out that they meant nothing, but they're so Hallmark. Yeah. Like they're so these little like nuggets of wisdom that you hear, and they sound like, oh yeah, you're right, I should have my strong bones, my strong leg bones. And then Del, that was the other, like I think they mentioned it too already, but yeah, when Del Wally was like, what does that mean, like what is that? That was so funny. But yeah, Guy, any like the whole time I know I'm going to be listening to this is going to be me being embarrassed at how much I'm laughing at everything you said. Unless Ryan edits out,
I'm not going to
90% of me. Yeah, you would just have to clip me out of this whole thing, because the whole thing was just me, really being unable to properly focus.
Thanks, Josh.
It was great, and Ryan, aside from the world building and aside from tolerating the me becoming a GM, which is obviously that's like nightmare fuel for
incredible.
anything. Like
That was so funny. I love it.
incredible.
It's so
You were so soft. I was ready for you to go fucking hard.
no, because I don't want to like shut because you can see all the work that you put into something like this, and you want to be able to just kind of like gently, steer it, but you handle that so well, and you roll with it in a way that like you don't feel bad for like, oh yeah, I'll fuck with a couple things, I'll kill these people that I'm sure you had an idea would have like maybe somehow more meaningful ending.
Not anymore.
Right. So it's great to watch, but I think Pam mentioned it too. But my favorite part was the conversation that you and Guy had as Jackson and Guy, and you immediately were able to like pick up on Guy as Cole mannerisms and sayings and little things that you guys got into a conversation back and forth that I want to listen to for 100 years. Like I think Del and I just like stopped doing everything else and we just leaned in. We just listened to it because it was so funny. But you pick that up and you are able to step into those characters so fast and so believably in a way that, and same with Allegra too, the same thing of like a throwaway, like I need to find a teenage girl who looks impressionable, and then immediately like, hey, what's up? I'm going to steal your money. And so that was like in my mind that was not. It was like she was going to turn around and be like, Johnny Evans, here's my chestnut, and then she became something else and something meaningful and impactful and. It was just stupid fun. Just I would do this 100 times. 100 times Rick and Morty, 1000years.com.
I think my favorite comment from that, I forgot, was, "You're more nut than man."
So amazing.
Oh, man.
Oh, okay, I think that makes it my turn. Oh, what a fucking time. Pam, I am so glad to have you back here. I'm so glad knowing that we're going to get to play more games in the future. I'm excited to tell more stories. But yeah, just you were this delightful balance to every single person in such a generous way. You were also so very funny. Watching Trish be outside of her depths pushed her to... When she's outside of her depths, she was as crazy as every other character on this show. But when she wasn't, she was this person who kind of needed to be what everybody needed to be. And I think you did such interesting work of hanging on to secrets until important moments. Because there was a bunch of stuff you stumbled onto in terms of interpersonally or things you could have said where Trish could have easily been the, like, here's a big reveal, blow open multiple episodes. And instead, you played it as her being like, I need to be there for the person right now. And I think the level of relationships and the level of depth that we ended up with in the end, specifically between, like, Cole and Holly and Trish, you didn't change, so that didn't happen there, but it was very funny. But that level, and you really, like, the ending was so crafted by the way you supported everybody's stories, on top of creating this very, very funny character that I'm like, it feels like the next Hallmark movie will be hers. Like, at the end of this one, it was like everybody had their journey, and next one will be, it's just so cool, so funny. I love the work. Like, you're so generous. You're so fun to work with, too. Like, it's just so nice to have you at the table.
Thanks for having me.
Yay.
Guy, it's so great to have you here in studio as opposed to just digitally. It's been years since we were able to play together in person.
Yeah,
I think
man.
pre-pandemic was the last time we were able to do that, which is wild. You brought so much heart to this character. And I think you made a great point at the end, because it was true, where you were like, I am the most Hallmark person here. And he is. Cole's insane, but this version of Hallmark had become completely insane, and Cole didn't change. Cole was just an outlier weirdo in Hallmark world, and then Hallmark world got so fucking psychotic, and Cole was an immovable object of just, no, I am the heart I am. And it was about family, and it was such a cool twist, especially in this back half to Cole finding out himself and kind of watching his emotional depths grow and be revealed, and just realizing that, like, oh, the still waters are running deep. Like, it's not just surface jokes from Guy Bradford being like, I'm dumb and I love nuts. It was like he cared about his son. He really did love the people around him. He didn't just come out and say the right thing. And, like, he was up for changing the things around him, because he ultimately is about family, not about farming. And that's a huge difference. It was such a neat journey to see that guy take, of like a core thing, realizing not that he's changing the core thing, but just realizing what that core thing is as you explored his character. It's just really, really neat, really, really powerful, really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Oh my God. You talking. Delightful. Insane. Your bowing to ninjas at the end is one of the funniest things of realizing, especially after the reveal of being like, this isn't what ninjas are, when you know it's just the mainly townsfolk of Hallmark, like the town council, dressed up as ninjas. And you just are like, this is the identity you've adopted. I will speak to this identity. It's so innately funny. Del, Holly was such a fun ride. Like it was perfect to come in with a Hallmark protagonist and lean into that, and also let it just be where the story changes her, because the moment Polaris Rome attacks town, it's no longer a Hallmark movie. It still is.
Yeah.
It still has all the Hallmark elements, but it is a different kind of story that requires a different kind of ending if you're going to engage with it authentically, and I think you did that. The other thing I will give you a huge shout out for was playing it out to a realistic ending with a Cole, where it could have had, well, like in real life, it's not immediately like, oh, we were best friends, and now one says I'm in love with you and you're madly in love with you. That's not how it happens. Yeah. And I think it was much more realistic for it to be kind of like a surprise, and then like, maybe we can see what this is, but it's a maybe because I hadn't thought about it.
Exactly.
And it's so rare to see people play that earnestly. I think a lot of improv and a lot of storytelling is like, secretly they both knew it the whole time. And then the idea of like, I did not know. What does that mean? Also, your fiance sucked. But I loved sitting and looking out the window. The idea of supporting the fiance, like taking the engagement, playing that forward, it all felt so grounded. And I think it was so cool. And you spent so long justifying Johnny. And I think what Josh said is very true, which is it's really easy to be 3 episodes in and be like, my fiance's an asshole. Fuck this guy. I love you, chestnut farmer. I mean, this farmer was insane, so I might have taken 6 episodes. But like, it was really cool how long that played out. It didn't feel like you were overextending it. It didn't feel like you were milking it. It was just like, oh, this is who this lady is, and explains why she'd be with Johnny for so long.
Yeah.
And where it would all go. And I think it really just fueled a really, really cool story. Great work.
Thank you.
And very different from the stuff you've played before. So a
Thank
big
you so
move,
much.
which was a lot of fun. Oh, Josh, what a piece of crap. I loved it because it's true. He might not have been a bastard until the last 2 episodes where he was absolutely a bastard, which was so fun. And I loved the arc, doing the right thing, but I think also playing this kind of character realistically in like, oh, you probably would have kept going with the Trish thing if Holly hadn't started expressing interest in Cole in a way you understood. Because it was like, oh, you're just prioritizing whoever's nearest you needs to like you. And like a very classic kind of like narcissist sociopath way. And it was played very realistically. And it's one of the things that when it comes to like personality disorders and the way that they play, the difference between a personality disorder and somebody who just really wants stuff and is a good manipulator is every tactic Johnny uses to try to get people to do what he wants ultimately backfires and is the reason they don't like him. Like he's not a successful manipulator. He's a compulsive manipulator. And I thought it was such a cool journey. And then at the end, doing the heroic thing to just be like, I'm going to propose again. It's like, why does this man think I murdered her mother and I proposed again? This is a cool moment.
I know.
Followed by the exit. It was just like, oh no, like you set up such a cool ending to be like, it's not this story. Johnny belongs in a different genre. Hallmark, he's meant to get kicked out of Hallmark. He didn't. What is he now? And that's such a cool thing to be like, oh, he's always not quite a Hallmark character, and now he's established, oh, he probably shouldn't have even been in a Hallmark as a supporting character. Like she's got a monster on her hands. And I think it was so cool for you to lean in and just go for all that. I loved all of you. This was all amazing. In a small token of esteem, all of you may keep your dice that you're given as your. This is just a thank you for this game. So
Merry
a little
Christmas.
yeah. Oh,
Something
here's
like
so
that.
welcome.
Everyone.
And I will say, Guy and Del, you can also keep your hats. You won them. You were the king and queen, so those can go with you.
King and queen forever.
You've got some cool stuff that you can take away with you. Thank you, Patreon, for your support. Thank you, Table, for playing.
Thank you so much.
Travel safe for those of you who have to get out of here right now because we stayed a little late. But
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Great
No,
work.
that was great. That was so much fun.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.